Hello everyone, this is Planckera, and welcome to my universe. Oh boy, okay. Oh, am I hitting buttons? No, I'm good, okay. So, yeah, last time, I kind of got a lot of the atmosphere going, because I finally colored the snow, and now I'm much happier with things. Unfortunately, I think I kind of killed the texture on the snow just a little bit too much. So I'm actually gonna bring some of that back a little bit. I'm gonna start there, and you know, as always, I just kind of like to start with a little bit of corrections. So I guess I'll just point out the things that I'm not super big on right now. So first thing, I want to get a little bit more texture back into the snow. I think I could do better there. And two, I still don't really like the big shadow on the snowman. I kind of want to break it up a little bit more. I'll probably break up some of the shadows on the big snow pile out here as well. Something like that, and I kind of also want to make Pippa and some of the animals sink into the snow a little bit more, because I was looking at how deep I made it here, and then how shallow it looks over here, and I mean, I guess you could say that it's a little bit more compacted over there or something, stuff like that, but I don't know, man, it's not working for me. So I think it'll be cuter if it's a little bit more like up into her ankles and up into the animals a little bit more and stuff like that. And at some point, I also want to leave, like, little footprints in the snow for where all the little animals, and to a lesser extent, Pippa has been walking, so I think Pippa's footsteps are going to be out here, and I'll probably put a few over there. I don't know how I want that to look yet, so I'm actually going to save that for later. But that's the plan eventually. I think it'll be very, very cute. Just little tiny footprints. I think will add so much more cuteness. And yeah, today I think is going to be mostly derping around at the background. I still don't really like the path, but, you know, frankly, I think it's small enough that I'm just not going to worry about it. I think it looks okay. I just don't like it, but that's fine. Sometimes it actually is fine. Anyway, some other things. I kind of want some more snow in the foreground. I kind of want some in front of these trees and stuff as well. It's all complicated. I'll figure it out. But I think I'm just gonna texturize some snow for a little bit. Sounds like a great way to get started. Let's see, what color do I want to use here? I think, you know what? I'm actually just gonna use a pure white. People that say don't use pure white in your paintings, they're not exactly wrong, but they're not exactly correct either. It has its place. I don't know, do I like this brush for this? I don't think I do. I'm gonna go try my other little splatter brush here, and I don't know, I just want some spots that are kind of glittering. That's the best way I can describe it. I just want some glitter. Look, glitter makes everything better. Just look at me. I looked at my design in a few places, and I'm like, you know what? I could add more glitter to this. Let's do it. And I did. So, you know, sometimes all you can do is add more glitter. Yeah, this is working for me. I gotta say, that this is probably one of the most versatile brushes in all of Krita, the Starfield brush. I use it for, like, everything. It's also how I put all the glitter on myself. Actually, thinking about it, I'm pretty sure one of my initial drafts of myself had glitter in the hair, too, but I thought it was a little bit too much with the bright colors, and the fact that I planned to animate the highlights. You can't really see the highlight animation unless you look real close, though. I probably could have done more with that, but you know what? That's okay. I still want things to be a little bit more sparkly, so let's try the splatter. Splatter brush is pretty good too, by the way. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's sparkling. Look at that. I just always feel like there's something about snow where If you don't make it a little bit sparkly, it's like, what are you doing with your life? Anyway, I'm gonna kind of blend some of these colors together as well and do some things around that. And, you know, there's just all kinds of little things that I can do here. I just wasn't entirely happy with the snow. I'll do my best. Unfortunately, I think I'm just in one of those stages where... How to say... So, as you go through your art journey, there's going to be times when you just love looking at your art. It's fantastic, everything is beautiful, and it just feels really good. And then there's other times when you're getting better, and like it's a positive thing, but unfortunately it means that you're going through a period where you look at your art and all you can see is problems. Because your eyes are getting better and you're just understanding certain things a lot better. And it's good, but it's also kind of unfortunate because, well, all you can see is problems, and it feels really bad. But it is also a sign that you're going through a growth period. And sometimes during that growth period, it's slow enough that you don't get it really, really hard. But if you're going through, like, super rapid growth, just, it's all coming together all of a sudden, and you're kind of just realizing a bunch of stuff all at once, whether consciously or unconsciously. You look at your stuff, and it just all looks really bad. Really, really bad. For reasons, you know, sometimes you know, sometimes you don't. But everything just looks terrible. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. And it's okay. This is not a self-esteem thing. I'm still pretty comfortable with my art. I still think... I do not think I'm a bad artist or anything. It's just, I acknowledge that things are happening. And that's why I say, fundamentally, it's a very good thing. It's a very good thing that it's happening, but holy cow, does it feel terrible. So I'm in kind of one of those states right now, so I kind of have to acknowledge that pretty much everything I do for, probably the next while, I'm just not gonna like. I'm just not, and that's just kind of how it is. But it's okay, you know, eventually I'll be able to sit down and do all the practicing that I want, and then from there, you know, it can actually start getting better. And hopefully, by the end of it all, I'll have nicer art, and it'll be fantastic. It just, going through that process really, really sucks. So... It's okay, it is what it is. And I don't really see it as a bad thing. That's why I said, I don't need any of the reassurance or anything. I don't think that what I'm doing is, like, terrible or anything. It's just, I am perpetually unsatisfied. And I know no amount of work is probably gonna fix some of the issues, but I'm pretty sure I can still get things into a pretty decent state. And it's just gonna take some time for my ability to draw to catch up with my ability to spot mistakes. And that's fine. I can deal with it. But I'm really, really hopeful that getting over this hump is going to let me actually start drawing fast and flail less. Because, you know, that sounds pretty fantastic. I like that. I like that idea. So, I'll keep working hard. Okay, let's see. I decided to turn off the layers just, kind of help me be able to pick colors properly, because the foreground and this vignetting that I put around, it distorts the colors a little bit. So I needed to hide it for a moment, but I'm not gonna paint over the corners too much, just because, you know, all the stuff there, it's gonna be covered, and I don't want to. I don't want to be drawing on things that are going to be covered, but okay, am I happy with snow piles and stuff now? Yeah, I think so. Okay, back to splatter brush and making things really sparkly. But yeah, no, things are looking a little better, so I can add a little bit of glitter. Or, you know, a lot of glitter. I'll try not to overdo it. It's easy to overdo it. I love glitter that much. I'm not gonna keep it out of the shadows, but I'll make it a little bit less prominent out in my shadows. We're just gonna let all the snow sparkle. Yeah, but this is kind of what I meant when I said that I was a little bit unsatisfied. And I mean, look at the difference. If you compare, if you use, I'm pretty sure I still have the DVR function on. So if you go ahead and just, you know, ascend it, look at it back there, then you can, you know, go see the difference of just what a few more highlights and shadows in various places, and then copious amounts of glitter can do for something. Okay. Yes, I approve. Alright, let's go put some feet in the snow a little bit better. I just want her to sink in a little bit more here. So here we go. And it should be rough and uneven, of course. And I'm probably gonna have to go back to my snow layer and fix the colors. And, you know, that's fine. But I'm gonna get her foot in there good. There we go. And before I fix colors and everything, I want to do the same for the animals. Okay, I'm gonna collapse Pippa layer again, because man. Okay. So let's get that little bunny in there more. He's a little guy, so he's gonna be like buried. He's doing his best. There we go. And you know, let little hints of the fur color kind of come out. And get his little ear in there a little bit more too. You know what? Maybe not quite that much. I want to make sure it lines up. I'm actually gonna zoom out a little. Okay. So we'll get this little guy buried and rolling around. Maybe a little bit showing the paw just kind of coming out. Like that. Yeah, I think that's pretty cute. I'm just gonna get his whole little head in there. Okay. Deer hoof. Just really gonna let it sink. There we go. And I think the snowman's alright, so I'm not gonna worry about that. Okay. Then over here, this little guy could use a little bit more snow. And I'll be sure to add a nice little path for him to have wandered through in order to get out there. But that will come a little bit later. I kind of want to do some more background wrangling before I get into those kinds of details. But there we go. I feel like everyone's sinking in the snow a bit better. So I can go back to the original layer now. You know, once I find it, because Man, there are too many layers here. There are just way too many. I really, really want to merge some of them together. I really do. I won't, though. Alright, so now we'll add some highlights and shadows around places where they're kind of sinking into the snow here. Just kind of get everything going there. Let the snow kind of move around their feet. As you do. And I'll add some squiggles and little piles here. I don't mind adding a little bit of like a detailed density around areas people are supposed to look. Like that's fine. I'll keep it like around the animals and around Pippa and stuff. But I don't want any of those kinds of textures out like in the middle of nowhere here. This doesn't need a lot of detail density. This is fine. The light is pretty, and that's all that really matters there. Okay, so I'm gonna scribble here a little. Get the shadows and the highlights and stuff doing what I want. And once I'm happy, then I can start rendering new things. I think the next thing I want to do are some of these birds. Like that bird's fine, but I can get the rest of these birds here. And then I think after that, I would like to get the cabin. So I think that'll be the next big thing. I'm actually gonna skip through the trees, and I'm still not sure if I like this giant crater in my mountains. I think it makes them look decidedly less mountainy. But at the same time, I like the light being there, so that's been my dilemma. It's okay, I'll figure out something. It'll be great. It'll be fine. Okay, I don't want to use that color over here. I want to use the slightly lighter shadow color I got for out there. Okay. So I'm keeping the shadows a little bit darker, like right around them. But they're lightening up a little bit as you get a little bit further away. That is very much intentional, so. Alrighty. Okay, and for the last bit of corrections, I still want a little bit more snow coming down in front of them. I do, and I don't think I have a lot of the snow colored very well. I don't think I'm gonna fix that yet. I think I'm just gonna fix all of the snow. I think I'm gonna fix all the snow later when it suits me. I just kind of don't feel like it. All there really is to it. So yeah, we'll just have little powdery stuff. It's kind of around. And I'm mostly worrying about putting it on top of things. Just because I think that's where it's really necessary. Because right now, I just don't feel like it's, like, sufficiently snowy. Oh yeah, and I also need to fix the snowman shadows. But, and the reason I felt like it wasn't really sufficiently snowy is that there was, like, no snow on any of, like, the foreground elements. Or midground, I guess I should say. And any of these things going around here. And so I was like, okay, I should add just a little bit here. And then I wanted a little bit of snow in the foreground here. it should still look like it's snowing. And right now it just doesn't. And that bothers me a lot. So I want to make sure that there's snow in the trees and on the bunnies and all these things. Because right now, or at least before I went and added this, it looked like there was like a force field around every character, and the snow was simply not allowed to touch them. And, you know, not what I'm going for. No! So, I'm gonna put some light bundles of snow in some places. It doesn't have to be everywhere, it's fine. But, needs more. They do not get the snow force field. They must deal with the elements like anybody. Alright, and now I can kind of fix up the snowman. How do I want to do that anyway? Okay, I think I'm gonna get the chalk brush again. And I'm gonna turn it into an eraser and just kinda... I don't know. No, that's not doing it. I'm just gonna kind of poke at it. I don't know, right now the shape just feels a little bit... blob. Just blob of snowman, and I don't really like it very much. I don't. Okay. Okay. There we go. I'm just gonna pull it back a little, and I'll blend some of that in. There was just something about the shape of these shadows that was bothering me a lot. Honestly, I can't really tell you what it is. I'm not sure if the shadow shape was just too big, too similar, didn't have the proper lighting or what, but man. And then looking at it, I'm gonna try to light it a little bit more like Pippa, so I'm kind of giving it a little bit more light here. And some part of me also just wonders if the reason that I didn't really like it that much was just because it's kind of a secondary focal point. That's exactly why I wanted Pippa's hand to be on it, for example. And it just didn't stand out enough? I don't know. Because when you put shadows on things, it does tend to make things kind of recede and draw less attention to themselves. Did I want the snowman to have more attention? Perhaps. You know, we'll find out. But there was something wrong, and I always really hate when I can tell that there's something wrong, but I don't necessarily know what it is. It's rather obnoxious, I must say. Okay, but that's a little better. It's one of those things where, you know what, maybe I will just end up poking at it many times before I'm finally happy with it, and you know what, that's okay. I do want to try to finish it this week, so this way I can have the time-lapse ready for Christmas, and I can go post it on the internet and feel special, but... I still want to make things look nice. I'm still a sweaty tryhard, and I can't help myself. Anyway, let's draw a bird. Yeah, you know what? Drawing a bird sounds great. Let me see. I'm gonna zoom in and make sure that I like where I put all the snow. I'm just taking a look and making sure I don't need to pull any back. I do. Okay. I don't mind it kind of in their face, but I don't want it directly on top of this bunny's eye, or any of their eyes for that matter. I think even here's a little bit close. Yeah, I still don't want it on the eyes. I don't. Okay, and then I want to do just a touch of science with Pippa's hair. This is unrelated to literally anything. I'm just curious. Does it look better if I make your hair a little bit blue around the mountains? This is one of those cases where I'm not sure. I just don't really want her hair to be drawing much attention to itself. No. Okay, good. Cool. Perfect. So, why did I want to do that? Yeah, I wanted to make sure that her hair didn't draw too much attention to itself. But no, it looks great being just totally sun-kissed like that. This is fine. Just all the light kind of pouring in and making her hair glow. I think it's fine. Alright, let's draw a bird. I can draw a bird for real this time. So I'm gonna get rid of all my colors for now. And I'm gonna go ahead and... I don't know, what kind of bird do I want you to be? It's like I had one in mind. I should go look at what they look like. Mountain... Okay. So I can do pretty much whatever I want here. But yeah, these are derpy little guys with tiny little heads and really chubby bellies. And you know what? That sounds perfect. Tiny little heads and chubby bellies are adorable. That's why when you see, you know, little chibi or super deformed characters, they got tiny little heads and chubby little bellies. So we'll give them a tiny little head. And a chubby little belly. Just like that. And I guess I gotta get rid of the foreground because you're kind of in it and it's distorting my colors. There we go. So I'm just gonna start with the hard round brush as usual. And, you know, from there, I can make things look nice. What do your little wings look like? Okay. Alright, I'm just scrolling through references, and then I just see this picture of a peacock with its mouth wide open, just screaming at the sky. It made me laugh. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay. So their little wings, they do something like this. And then they're all like flat at the bottom, and you know, it'll have some feathers. But I'm not gonna draw those yet. I gotta get the structure of this silly little bird down first. I'll give him a face in a bit. So we'll have this kind of shape. Just something like that. Look at him go. He is so amazingly fat. Okay. And then his little face will go up there. I will be fluffing this guy up. And that should make him look very cute. So it'll be great. I kind of want him facing toward the snowman a little bit more, so I'm gonna rotate that little belly. And I'm gonna rotate that little wing too, actually. This time a little bit more literally with my transform tool. Okay, so something like that, and then I can attach it to its body and stuff. And just let it fly. And let me see, what do your little tail feathers look like? What do your little tail feathers look like when you're flying? Do they kind of fan? They fan a little bit. So we'll just get the slightest little hint of little tail feathers out back there. And then he'll have feet. And it'll be great. And in those feet, it's going to be holding like a little bit of coal. Okay, so I think that's the gist of what I want to do for him. This guy is tiny and in the background, so I'm just going to make him have a tiniest little head there. And you know what? I'm going to put a little nest on top of him too. So he's going to be sitting in a tiny little nest here. This looks like a terrible place to put a nest, but you know what? It's really cute, and I think the idea is very nice, so I'm gonna do it anyway. Because they all have to listen to what I say. They don't get to decide. They don't. Okay. So I think that's good for that. And then let me see. Is this bird on this group? It is. Okay. So I think you have to be like significantly smaller. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave that one there and I'm going to render that one once the trees are in. Okay. So I think that's good, and I'm pretty sure this is another bird out there, and I'll get him good once I draw a little bit more stuff. So I think I'm going to go ahead and shade these birds here, and then after that, I'm going to get my derpy little deer friend. I have been looking forward to drawing that guy for a long time, because he is just having a great time. You know, more than anything in this picture, he just looks like he's having an absolute blast. So I've wanted to draw him for a while. And you know what? I think I'm going to be pretty lazy with the shading here. I don't think I have to do anything real special, so I'm going to go get my dark purple from my swatch here. And I'm just going to set this brush to multiply and call it good. You know, it sounds good to me. I do always find it amusing and perhaps slightly unfortunate that the further I go in, the lazier I tend to get with things. Because, you know, after a while, I'm just not working on focal points anymore. Actually, you know what? Before I shade this, I should clean up the edge. I gotta make sure that all of this looks sufficiently feathery. Okay, what do you look like again? Alright. So I will be fluffing it up, so I'm not gonna worry about making the edges like super smooth or anything. But it's close enough to the foreground that I do want to make sure that there's hints of feathers. Just this kind of shape. I don't have to go super hard. But yeah, I mean, as I get further and further away from the focal points, I do tend to get lazier and lazier, and it only moderately, I'd say, has to do with getting closer to the end of the picture. But it's just, frankly, I've found that it just doesn't matter that much. It doesn't. It's a little sad to say, but a lot of these little things, you only have to put in moderate amounts of detail in order to get them to the same level of perfection that you'd want. Or something further up in the focal points. Just kind of how it is. So you can see for this one, I'm not even going to be drawing individual feathers or anything. This one's going to get a little hint of individual feathers. They're not going to be very strongly rendered at all. And I think that's fine. But this one's not going to get it at all because he's just way back there. If you look at a bird from far away, You do not see the individual feathers. It just doesn't happen. So you don't have to be panicking with every single little thing here. It's actually pretty nice. It's like pick the area that's important. Work really, really hard on that. And then just, you know, get the rest of the stuff that you need for the rest of the scene. And it'll be perfect. Gotta make him extra chubby. Oh yeah. Chubby guy. Okay. It's like, I mean, look how messy the rendering here is. And if you've been watching for a while, you know how careful I am with everything. Literally everything. The perfectionism is real. But you know what? I don't need it here. It's fine. This is fine. In all his faceless glory, it's fine. Okay. So I'm gonna fluff him up. Actually, you know what, before I do, I want to get this guy. And I'll fluff him up together. Get his little chubby belly in there. And I'll kinda, I don't know, draw on the nest just a little bit here. Just kinda get that in the way I think it should be. That's fine. Okay. Let's fluff these little guys up together. So I'm gonna continue using the brush that I've been using for fur. I think it works decently for feathery things too. And I'll just make it nice and downy, soft looking, and make it look like you could just pet those nice little feathers and they'd feel nice. And then around the tummy, I can make it just a little bit more fur-like, because I actually do think down on bird tummies looks a little bit like fur. Up here, I want it to be a little bit more feathery, though, so I'm gonna be a bit more particular with how I spread things out here. There we go. Yeah, I think that's pretty cute. I think that's pretty cute. And here, and just some tiny little strokes. Because when I look at feathers, that's kind of what I see. And like I said, I'm being a little bit less particular here than most other places. It's totally fine. No one will notice my laziness. Everyone's gonna look at this and be like, man, look at all that stuff. That sure is a lot of stuff. Artist definitely wasn't lazy at all, but they're wrong. But we don't have to tell them. It's okay. It can be a secret for people that actually come and watch the entire process. They can know that art is, you know, maybe not as hard as people make it out to be. It still get really hard. Don't get me wrong, but there are things you can do to make your life a little bit easier. So I should note that the type of bird that I'm drawing, it doesn't really have a tummy like this, but this is really cute, so I just want to do it anyway. You know, the joy of anime and all that, where you can kind of do whatever you want and it's fine. Alright, let's fluff out this little guy. I need a little tiny brush for this guy. I just don't want to leave him like that. We're gonna give him a nice chubby tummy. And he's just kind of chilling. He's kind of hanging out there. Okay. And now I can give him a little face. What do birds' eyes look like? They're like black, right? Yeah. Black, round, very dumb looking. So we'll use the same color as the bunnies. gonna be only maybe a little bit of thoughts in this bird's mind. But you know, for a bird, I think that's not bad. Okay, and then beak colors. Yeah, there's also just kind of black. Okay, so let me make your eyes a little bit rounder here. And don't worry, it'll look less possessed in a second, I promise. So sometimes you just gotta believe. Don't worry about it. Okay, and then your little feet. Also black. And they kind of do this thing where they kind of go back a little and then out. Maybe not quite like that. I kind of want them to be a little bit more stretched out. So maybe something like this, and then there'll be like little birdie talons, and I'll draw those in just a second there. I don't know, this is making me look really not sure about all this, and that's not quite what I want. What do they look like in flight? They kind of pull toward their belly, right? Yeah, with his feet out like that, it's just kind of like, whoa there! Like, wait a minute, do I actually want to be part of this? Like, yes you do, little birdie. So don't worry, I'll fix your feet, so you don't look quite so hesitant. Okay. So yeah, it looks like they kind of get pulled toward the body, so it'll be kind of like this, actually. No, that's still very whoa there. I don't know, maybe I should make it more cartoon then. If anything I try here just makes it look like, oh god, I gotta get out of here. Is it just the angle that you're flying at? It might be. Okay, I'll adjust that then. Go lean toward her. Okay. Now I'll try again with the feet. Okay, that's a bit better. So yeah, it was just the angle. All is well. Now I'll give him some little birdie talons and stuff, and I'll go ahead and zoom in and clean it all up in a second. And then one of them needs to be carrying a rock. I'll make it a brown rock just so it'll be easy to see. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in this foot. Or you know what? Maybe I'll draw the feet as such that they kind of come together around this rock and it can be like cradling it. That sounds pretty cute. So that means I gotta draw the rock first. Because I don't really feel like making a separate layer for this. I've got enough layers, man. I already can't keep up with all my dang layers, I swear. Okay. Let's just get that all in. That's a fine shape for a rock, I think. I guess I'll use my opacity brush. I'll be good and make sure to match everything stylistically. It'll be fantastic. And I'll just, you know, carve out a couple more planes and make it very rock-like. I definitely want it to be a solid imitation of a rock. Okay, that should be good. And then I'll just take the little highlight color I got there, and we'll just run it along the side here. Okay. That's a rock. I think I can be satisfied with that rock. So now I can get its tiny little legs in there. Let it wrap its little talons around it. And there we go. Now this bird can contribute to building the snowman, and it'll be great. Okay, let's kind of get in there, clean some of this up a little, and I'll gradually make this bird look a little bit less possessed. Oh yeah, and let's give you a little beak too while I'm at it. I don't know. Something about it, the expression just makes me laugh. It's very, yep, I'm here. Or food. Okay. Gotta shape it just a little bit more so it looks a little bit more like the bird's beak. They got this kind of little derpy shape going. Okay. And let's see if I can find pictures of their little talons again. I think getting those right is kind of important. Yeah, and they got little thumbs coming out the back there. Okay. So I'll put some little claws in here too. I'm actually, whenever I look really closely at birds, I'm always surprised at how vicious they look close up. I mean, they are hunters, so it makes sense. But it still just surprises me, because, you know, when you look at them from a distance, they just look very, hello there, I am here now. Hello, I'm bird. Let's just say I'm not surprised that there's a big problem of birds ramming their head just right into windows because I think there's nothing there. Everything about them just looks very, very dumb to me. Okay. There we go. We'll get his tiny little feet in there. And, you know, we'll go from there. And, you know, once again, I'm not gonna spend a lot of time shading this. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Oh, okay. You're not actually that color, huh? Alright, I'll steal the black from this bird's wing. It should be fine. Oh man, I made it that dark, huh? Can I get a slightly lighter black then? Just plop a few lighter areas on it? Okay, this works. I wanted something there. Okay. And I'll do the same on the little beak here. Give it just a little bit of a light spot there. And now I can get the highlights going. I'm just gonna steal that color from Pippa's eyes. Probably this one. Actually, no, I'm gonna steal it from the bunny. That'll probably be a more accurate color to what I'm using everywhere else. Do you know what? I actually kind of want to put a little color inside the eye, so I'm gonna do that first. What color should this guy's eyes be? You know what? Let's make it a nice yellow. Yellow sounds good to me. There we go. That still looks extremely possessed, but don't worry, I'll fix it. There we go. Now we got a little bit of hello, bird. Hello, bird. I'm glad you are here now. Hello, bird. Okay. And just one last little thing. Actually, I better get a little bit on this little guy there. Yep, that's cute. Alright. Last thing I want to do is I want to get a little bit of fluff kind of over the legs here. That's why I didn't worry about this part so much. Because I just plan to do that, and that's super easy. And there we go. Now I got a bird carrying a rock. And a bird sitting in a nest. I'm gonna go ahead and do its lighting just right now. Because why not? I'm here right now. Seems like a perfect time. And then every time I go and I draw one of these other animals, you know, I'll just go back and add their lighting immediately. So, you know, that'll be the guys over kind of in these trees and this derpy little guy down here. You know what? I'll just go ahead and add all these things immediately. Sounds good to me. There we go. Oh no, please be off. Thank you. Alright. So this guy is starting to get a little bit far away from the light. So I'm not going to have as many light spots on him. And he will just be mostly in darkness. Okay. So much so that I think it'll actually be easier just to color the whole thing in and then gradually start taking parts that should not be dark out. And I guess I'll fluff it all out right away. This guy is just gonna get a little bit there just to make him a little bit fluffier looking. That's about it there. Okay, I'll go ahead and fluff out these shadows right now before I go in and do the lights. Sounds fine to me, and you know, much like before, I do picture this guy's little tummy to have a little bit more of the nice little downy fur, and, well, not fur, feathers, yes. So I'll make those a little bit fluffier than the rest. And everything else, you know, we're gonna do some stuff like this. And there we go. Okay. Let's fluff out this little guy too. Just a little bit of fluff right around there. Okay. Now I can get the light color, and that'll be it for this little bird. I do kind of want to put some of its wing into light here. Quite a lot of it, actually. I think it'll look really, really nice. And I will fluff that out quite a lot, too. I'll put just a little bit of light on its tummy, but I'm not going to put any light on this wing. That one doesn't need it. I don't think its feet do either. Maybe just down here, but not over there. And as for you, this one's not going to get any light. He's just back there. He's just doing bird things back there. It's fine. He'll be just fine. Okay, now I just got to make it fluffy. And that will be it for this little bird. That'll be it for that little bird. And then I can go do the next thing, which I think is going to be that derpy deer hanging out in the foreground, having a good time. And yeah, I think that'll be fine. He's just out there having a good time. Yeah, I think he looks pretty cute. He's maybe a little bit big and fat, but you know what? I'm okay with this. If I was gonna make it like accurately sized, it should definitely be smaller. I do not think it should be as big as a bunny. Birds like this are a bit smaller than that. Yeah, I'll fix it. That rock is gonna be tiny then, but you know that's okay. That's alright. We'll make him a little bit smaller. I don't know what I picked up right there, but, oh, I accidentally cut off the head of the other bird. Yeah, I probably don't want to do that. That seems like it might be really unfortunate for the other bird. Let's not. Let's let the other bird keep its head. I still want its wing covering this tree, because I want to make it clear that it's, in front of the tree. So, that's important. But there we go. I think that's better. Now he's just a little guy. And whether you think he's a little guy or really far away, you know what? Either way is fine by me. He's just a little detail, so it's all good. Alright. So... next. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I think the number of animals is probably fine once I finish rendering out all the birds. Should be good. Okay. I kept wondering for a long time if I was going to have to add more animals. I thought it might be the case. But, no, I think it's probably good. Why do I not have Pippa's group collapsed? Please don't make me scroll through all of those layers. Okay. Okay, where are the animals in the background? That's trees. That's snow. Where the heck did I put them? God, I can never find anything here. Who the hell put this together like this? Nothing makes sense. God, my past self. Terrible, I tell ya. Like, I'll find it eventually. No, seriously, where did I put them? There they are. Okay. Okay. You know what, past self, you're the worst. I hate you sometimes. Okay, here we go. Yeah, you know, the unfinished nature of this aside, I actually think it looks okay. I do. I do think it looks pretty okay. Let me see. Can I get a reliable brown here without it being contaminated by snow? Yeah, I guess that's fine. Okay. I might need to get my deer references. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go look at pictures of deer. Okay, this is the last deer. Alright, let me see your little face. Right, their heads are like the most triangular thing ever. There we go. That's what I was looking for. See, I just forgot. And you know what? It's okay to forget, especially since I don't draw these things like this very often. I very, very rarely draw deer. So it's like, of course I don't know what they look like. How would I? Being able to draw from memory is quite hard. I don't want to overstate or understate the difficulty of it. It's really, really, really hard. So, you know what? If you can't do it... Me neither! That is why Google Images is a godsend. Look, I'm just reminded of those medieval paintings of horses, clearly drawn by people that have never seen a horse in their life. And they just have no idea what to do. And that's because they were unfortunate enough that they did not have Google Images at their disposal. So, it's okay. You don't have to be like medieval artists. You do have Google Images at your disposal if you're watching this. So you can just go take a look. Have a much easier time. But yeah, now I kind of remember what their heads look like. This is still way too freaking big. but it's okay. I think it's more accurate to say that it's not big, it's just long. There we go. That's a little better. And then I kinda want this to come out a little. So its eye is gonna be like there in this, like right about there. This is gonna be where its nose is gonna be, and we're seeing kind of a little bit of the underside of its head. I think that'll be more clear once I put the ears on, but I want to get the rest of the body and everything kind of figured out before I start doing that. Okay, and I feel like its body is a little bit long too. So I'm gonna kind of slide him back just a little. Start getting the legs in. I still love this guy. Just having so much fun. Playing in the snow. Just looking at him makes me happy. There are some things in life where, you know what? I just can't be sad. I mean, I have to be, like, really, really sad before I can be sad when, looking at some of those things. And, you know, one of them is, the Baba's UMAP music, the Yoku's Island Express main menu theme, some of those, and this guy. This guy. I'd say he's on par with some of those other things. Looking at him just... It makes all the gloom in the world go away. Okay, and then they have like these super exaggerated shoulders. And this will give him a little tail because I think it's cute. A little deer tail, something like that, I think. Yeah, more typically right up against their butt there, but frankly, this is cuter, so I don't care. Okay. And there's like a little, yeah, little white part back there. And I think that's pretty good. And then we'll see his other leg. I'll draw it like that, so this way we see both of them, and I think it's a little bit cuter that way. Okay, and then I'm gonna have to look at deer legs for this, because I remember them being really weird and, like, amazingly skinny and bony and just not what I personally expect. Alright, so let's get his little ears on. We'll let the ears kind of derp around just as hard. Okay, I think that's good. And because he's gonna be fluffy, I'm not gonna worry about getting the edges smooth, so this is fine. Let's go do the legs. Just want to make sure I get them right. Yeah, they are super skinny, man. And then there's like this big bone around their knees. And then they just like turn into nothing. Just pure sticks. And then there's another little lump kind of around their ankles. So, you know, something like this. I think that's good. And there we go. And then I'll just take my black. I will put in the hooves right now. I'll take it from this bird. And it'll just kind of derp around like that. I think that's cuter. I don't know if it makes sense, but it's adorable. So I'm gonna roll with it. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't like it. I want the hoop to go this way. Oh yeah, that's pretty cute too. My instincts, they are good. Okay. The hooves will not be fluffy, so I'm gonna render them out a little bit more. I'm going to make them a bit smoother. But I'm not going to put, like, light or anything on them until later. Okay. So I'll start with that, and then I'm just going to airbrush on just a few of the... a little bit of shading. It's not going to go that hard. I've been saying that a lot, but, like, you know, it's important to state. If only so to stop myself from trying to be too sweaty. But even besides that... Oh, I should get your spots in too, actually. But even besides that, I do think it is just important to keep in mind that you don't have to preserve every detail that people will never see. What's important is what people will look at. And I don't want to understate that. Okay, there we go. Nice and spotted now. So I can carry on with my deer shading. Okay, so this is like directly in the light there, so I won't shade that part. I will shade this part though. Get his tummy. I think that'll be like totally shadow. Same with this leg and kind of the underside of the chin here. And I think that's good. So I'll leave it there. And now I'll go ahead and make him fluffy, and then I'll give him a face. Where's my layer? There you are. This layer likes to hide from me. I don't appreciate it at all. I wish it would stop. Alright. And I do feel like deer are mostly just a little bit fuzzy as opposed to genuinely fluffy. So I'm gonna keep the hair nice and short, but I'm still gonna fluff them out. Still gonna get a little bit of floof in there. Gonna focus on the outside first, and then I'll lock the layer and get all the inside details. And then let's see, I think the fur on the legs is gonna be real short here. And here I'm being even more careful than usual because not only are deers like not super hyper fluffy, but this guy is also in the background. So that means that we see less detail. And in fact, I will actually be putting a lot of like yellow coloring on him in order to make him fade into the background even more. But don't worry, you'll get to see that all in just a little bit here. Just gotta, you know, do things one step at a time. Just one step at a time. I think his head might be a little bit big still, but I don't think I'm gonna fix it. I think he's perfect just the way he is. Okay, and I just realized that I kind of want to put just a little bit more light onto him. Actually, a lot more, so. This is even before I do proper lighting or anything. He's just gonna kind of fade into the background there. Just gently have a nice fun time out where nobody's watching. And you know, I think it's a good way to be. Go do what you want. It doesn't matter if people are watching or not. Alright, so I'm kind of blending in some of the spots there. Okay, and then at the end here, I kind of want to make sure that all the animals back here have proper lighting. So I'm thinking of doing a little bit of lighting for you now. So let's do that. Oh, okay, no, that's correct. Let's do that. Let's just get the dark in. No, please stick to the animal. Okay. So he'll just kind of fade out into the background here. There's not going to be a ton of detail. I still need to give him a face, though. I just realized I forgot about that. But, you know, it'll come in a second. Okay. And now I can just really fade him. Just let him have a nice little time back here. That's a little bit too bright, but the idea is solid. And there we go. I think that's just what that guy's gonna look like, except with a face. I will still allow the face to exist. I am generous like that. Okay. So he'll have his little eye just right here, I think. I'm actually gonna do a little closed eye for him. I'll still give him little eyelashes because I want to. And I'll put a little nose out here. And there we go. I guess I'll put a little tiny shine on the nose as well. Okay, he's just back there having a great time, and I think that's perfect. So, that's all the major animals done, really. The rest are just kind of some tiny birds in the trees. So let's go ahead and do the cabin. Cabin, I think actually looks mostly fine as is. I just kind of need to clean it. And, you know, like these boards, for example, need actual shades and whatnot and that kind of thing. But frankly, I don't think I have to change that much about it at all. I will start with the tree. Just because the tree is out in front of it. And I want to make sure that all of it is, you know, good to go. Turn off the foreground real quick and make sure I can pick accurate colors. Why are you so off? I don't have any filters on you, do I? Oh, I do. Okay. Okay, well, here we go. So I kind of started doing this last time. And let's see. I'm going to go look at my Evergreen Forest references again. You know, power of Google Images, and just look at evergreen trees from a distance. Because I want to see if I have to be neat or if I can get away with kind of smudging things a little bit. I think the wet brush smudge might be a little bit too much. But I think I can do something similar. Maybe with this guy. If I'm very careful with him. No, okay, that's not working. Yeah, and that just... It is not textured. What about you? Can I be careful enough with you? Yes, I can. This is exactly what I want. Because I just kind of want these kinds of shapes like this coming out. But I don't need to detail every pine needle. All of these guys are far enough away that we would not see every pine needle. But we might see little shapes like this. So I'll go ahead and just kind of put them on. We'll just go ahead and put them on. And that should let me finish off the edges very quickly. You know, that's kind of the nice thing about soft shading. Is that... you don't really have to be as neat as you otherwise would. I can kind of let things be a little bit more smearied. and it'll look fine. So that's always nice. Like, I definitely wouldn't do probably wouldn't do something like this on Pippa there, but I don't know, for this part, I think it's okay. I'm gonna turn the foreground back on. And I think this will give me exactly what I want here. I don't know, it's working for me, so there we go. Today is a lazy art day. Okay, I unironically think that half of technique is just figuring out how to be as lazy as possible. Okay, and actually, I'm gonna go ahead and do the same for this tree kind of in front. Where are those trees? Mid-ground trees, there you are. So I'm just gonna clean up as much as I can. Okay, you're not on that layer. Are you part of the cabin tree? Because I'm also at the point where I kind of have to kill all this pixel dirt laying around. So I gotta get rid of that at some point. Hello there, Levin. Welcome back. Okay, so let's just figure out where these branches are sitting here so that this way I can render out this tree. And then I can draw the rest of the cabin. And I can just finish up probably what I consider the last important detail of the picture. So can I finish this by Saturday? That's kind of what I'm hoping for right now. Finish it off this week. We'll see what happens. I still really, really want to be able to post this for Christmas. I think that would be great. I do. I would really like to do that. Okay, and you know what? While I'm here, I'll get these little trees kind of peeking through here. I'll just kind of get their edges where I want them. And I'll go from there. What's... okay. I wanted to fill that in, but I was too lazy to switch brushes, so it's fine. Okay. You know what? Sure, I'm kind of in the mood to just derp around with the edges of trees. So let's do it. I'll just go ahead and get all of them. I do worry that they look a little bit too fuzzy, but I think it's okay. Gonna make the branches a little bit bigger here. Because these guys are a little bit more abstract than the ones I've been working on. A little bit less finished. And I'm not at all worried about the color for the time being. Not at all. I will colorize it all later. Right now, I'm just worried about finding the proper edges. And that I do also want to go in and add like a few trunks and branches here and there. I do think that it will be necessary to make these trees look tree-like, assuming I am remembering what things look like correctly. Yeah, definitely. I know exactly what to do though, so it'll be okay. Let me just finish getting the edges here. And I guess I have decided to hold off on doing the cabin, and I'm going to draw some trees. You know what? Sounds good to me. Let's draw some trees. I might need to do another pass through some of these ones, because these ones were not cleaned up nearly as nicely as some of the other ones that I was working on. And now they're looking a little bit smeary, and I don't think I like it. I don't. Okay. I mean, it's a start, though, so I'll take it. And it's a lot easier than what I was trying to do initially, so... I do think that the branches I decide to draw will help a lot. Definitely. But I don't know. I might need to touch up the edges a little bit. There might be a need for some science. It has been a little while since I've drawn a big evergreen forest like this. The past couple of forests that I've drawn have all been deciduous trees. And I don't plan to blur the background at all here, so... Like probably a little bit around the corners, maybe a few in some little bit in some select areas, but in general, no, not really. And like, I think here might appear a little bit blurry just because I'm going to light it really strongly. I do look forward to adding the lighting, you know, you guys know that I love doing that. It is the best. But you know, that'll also come a little bit later. Oh, you're not on that layer. So are you on... I want to clean that up now. What do I prefer the look of? Probably modern. I think animation technique has gotten better over time. So I do think that the newer ones look better. Okay. Seems reasonable. I mean, everyone has their own taste. Hehe. Yeah, and I mean, as you might imagine, I like the strong lighting. And lighting techniques have gotten quite good, so it's very nice. Alright, one more tree here, and then the background trees, I'll clean them up. But I don't have to be as particular with them, so that's really nice. So let's see, and then I can kind of think about how to make them a little bit more bristly, and a little bit less smudged. I mean, it's not surprising that they look a little smudged. I am using a smudge tool after all. Just an angled one. But I have ideas. I think I know what to do about all this. So, you know what? Life is good. And I don't think I'm going to do it until I'm ready to actually finish out the drawing. I want to shade them first. Yeah, I think so. So, are you background trees? You sure are. Okay, here we go. Oh, you're a group. There we go. Okay, so I think the next step here is gonna be putting some tree branches and stuff in there. So the ones way in the background here, the ones that are more silhouette-y, like this, I don't think they're going to get proper branches or anything. I don't think they need them. But the ones a little further forward, they all will. They all will. Let's see, are there any other background ones? Yeah, over here. Got a little bit back there. We'll make it a little more tree-like. Then we got you. No, we don't have you, do we? Oh, okay. No, I do have the snow layer on. Okay. Turning off the snow for now. I'll put it back on in just a little bit. And I think before I render out all the background trees, I will want to finish the cabin, since the cabin is in front of some of them. Oh, the reason I started doing the trees is because of this one. I still have a preference for trying at least as much as I can to get the things further forward rendered first before I do the things further back. Just because it typically means that I have less to fix, and I know exactly which areas I have to care about and which areas I can basically ignore entirely. And that's always nice. Okay. So I'm gonna put in some branches now. Yeah, I guess the background tree probably needs a few. And they're gonna be dark. I'm actually gonna use, I think, the roof color here in order to do branch stuff. So we'll have a little branch here. I'll draw a little indication of things out there. It's gonna look very cartoony for a little bit. Don't worry about it. It'll get better. But first, I just kind of want to get things in. Okay. Cabin tree. Oh, gotta sneeze coming. Moment. Okay. Better. Alright, let me remind myself what these need to look like. The joy of Google Images. You know, I can never quite stop looking. Okay. So we'll bring this down here and... Yep, I'm just gonna send it all the way down. It's gonna get a little thicker as it goes down. Like I said, don't worry about how bad it looks right now. All will be well. It's gonna be scribbly and it will be fine. Okay, so I kind of want some bigger ones down here. I kind of want some coming forward as well, but we won't really see those quite as much. It'll just look kind of like this. Okay, and now I'm gonna go do the mid-ground ones. Okay, so a big one going down the middle here. And little branchy parts. I'm still telling you, trust me. Trust me, it'll be fine. I just gotta get it down first. But don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I can see it in my mind. I can. And because I can make it look good when the time comes. That time, it's just not now. But it'll probably be in a few minutes, and then everything will look good again, and it'll be great. And that'll be done with all the trees. But have I mentioned that drawing a forest is actually really easy, and doesn't take very much effort at all? Well, here we go. I'm gonna prove it. look at all those trees, and look how complicated I'm making everything look. But look how little time it's gonna take. Okay, and then up and out. And I mean, look here, I am literally just scribbling. That is all that is happening. It's scribbles and nothing more. It's all just the hand doing all the work. No thoughts at all. In fact, having too many thoughts I think would actually make it look worse. So, I'm paying attention to the general shape I want for the tree and everything. So it's not like my head is completely empty here. But mostly, I am just relying on the power of the hand to get everything the way I want it. Hand knows what's up. Hand is very smart. I think sometimes my brain can underestimate the power of my hand. Okay, so this one's kind of off screen, so I'll just be drawing the branches. A little bit too scribbly. There we go. You can see, you know, I just made a change. I said hand. No, you got it wrong that time. But for the most part, I'm just kind of letting the hand do its thing. And it'll all kind of work out. Let's see, where's my background trees? We'll put a few branches back here too. And that's not a background tree. These ones will not get any. I might change their shape a little bit. Okay. So now it's time to go and make this look good. And the way I'm going to do that... Let's see. Let's see here. Let me look at my evergreen forest one more time. Okay. I think something like this will do it. I'm going to turn it into an eraser. I'm gonna go back over to the cabin tree here, you know, where it all started. And then I'm going to erase. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I want here. I'm going to erase over it. It'll hide certain parts of the branch. And it'll look like it is covered by needles and whatnot. So some branches will show, possibly in their entirety. And others will be covered. And that's kind of just what trees look like. So we'll have some... we'll have some of the needles here, just covering up that stuff. It's covering the trunk. The trunk is showing in some places and not others. And that's all I really want. Okay, and then the rest here, I think... I'm just going to start shading it. And I think that this will be a great texture for pine needles. I have you locked, right? No, I don't. Okay. You know what? That's actually probably a good thing. But yeah, I think this will be a good texture for pine needles. So I'll just kind of go from there. Yeah. Yep, I think this is what I want. I think this is exactly what I want. And I'll start brushing in the colors and everything and kind of straightening up this edge here. And you can see I'm not even being especially neat with it or anything. It's all good. I'm just following the general gist of the shape. Okay. And I'm mostly focused on the outside, you know, as is my general workflow. Because at some point I would like to be able to lock this layer and just be able to go hard on all the texturing and colors and whatnot. And occasionally I'll even turn this into an eraser and take back certain areas I don't like quite as much. And I can touch it up as many times as I want. The joy of being the artist. Do whatever I want, and picture has no say. It can try, but it will never succeed. Alright, I think that's the outside. So now I'm just gonna, zoom out really far. And I'm going to color everything the way I want it to be. So I want this outer part to be much lighter than it currently is. I'm not sure how it got so dark, but it's fine. I'll fix it. And then I'll just start plopping shadows anywhere I think shadows should exist. It's gonna be, mostly out on this side. Away from the light source. Oh, did I miss a spot here? Yeah, I think I did. Okay. I didn't get down here. Let's fix that. Oh yeah, I just wanted this edge to be a little bit rough. A little bit needle-like, and I think that this will look great once you zoom out, and I think it even looks fine at 100%, so this is just doing what I want. Now I got a nice tree. Now I got a nice tree. So let's see, I'm pretty sure I have a tree swatch up here, and I'm just gonna start brushing in some darker colors where I think they make sense. And then we'll place the snow and everything, and it'll be great. And I am so happy to finally be finishing the trees. I actually am. The trees will have to be cleaned up a little bit. I think I'll just continue using the same texture brush. I think it'll make it for a good bark texture. But I don't think it'll take very much. And you know what? I think that's good. I will add some light to it, but I think I'm going to do that via lighting layers instead of just directly on the tree. I guess I can add just a touch of yellow to some of the branches, just to kind of get it started. But frankly, I think it'll just look better if I do it via lighting layers instead of like this. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the bark now. Back to the branches. Gonna get my color, and I'm gonna kind of go in and just clean them up a little. Just a little here. I just think they're a little bit too messy. I still want them to look very solid. And I might take back a little bit of this texturing later. This is admittedly a touch messy as well. I'm just not a fan of messy art. But I'm gonna start here for now, and I'm gonna do all the trees at this level of detail, and then I'll go back over it. So I'm just gonna kind of do everything in passes. And that kind of thing tends to work for me. I tend to feel a little bit less overwhelmed when I just do things in quick passes like this. And I think that looks okay when I zoom out. So I'll leave it there for now, and I'll go do this on all the rest of my trees now. So here we go, mid-ground tree branches. Time to break out the eraser. And we'll take back a lot of what I drew and make it all look nice. This one is heavily covered by the foreground, so, I get to be a little bit lazy again. And I'll just casually cut out anything that I think should be covered by more pine needles. We'll have nice little trees. Okay. Now once again, we'll find my lighter and darker colors. Because yeah, I think these are all the base colors of the trees, actually. So it looks like my lighter color is here. And my darker color is here. So now I can go kind of tease out the edges. And make everything look nice. And yeah, when I zoom in, I still think this is a little bit too messy. That's okay. I think it is a very, very solid start. I do. I think it is a very solid start. I am finding it a little bit hard to see right now, but you know what? It's okay. I do not think I need to be seeing very strongly in order to render out all this properly. In fact, limiting my vision here I think is actually useful, because then I won't fixate on silly things. And I think it'll be great. More importantly, I should be able to finish it fairly quickly. So let's see, I think before I go and finish out those ones, I'm just going to go ahead and finish the trees over here. So I've got kind of a light and dark color picked. So I will strongly brush in light color over here. And then I will start getting in some of the darker colors. And I think all will be well. And you know, once again, I will plop on a little bit of yellow. Just a little bit. I think once again, I'm still gonna light things via color lighting layer instead of just doing it all manually. Okay, and let's get that little bit of yellow in there. Just a little bit. Just to kind of get things started. Okay, and now I can go back over to this side and start the process all over again. I think this one's branches actually look pretty okay, just because you can barely see them in the first place. So I'll probably end up going over them a little bit more later, but that can be for the next set of touching up. Okay. So let's pull back some of these branches. Let some of them be covered with pine needles. Some of them more strongly than others. Is that just how these kinds of trees work? That's what they do. And this is kind of what we see as a result. Okay. Yeah, I think this is looking nice. This is actually pretty dang good for a sketchy pass, I think. I don't think I'll have to touch it up too much more. I just really, really wanted to how to get it started like this, because I think, especially the way I was trying to do it before I started doing it like this, it would have taken me forever, and I don't think that they would have looked any better. So, you know, it's useful. It's very useful. Let's see, I think I'd rather have my midtone from over here. It's a little lighter. Alright. So now, you know, I'll fluff out the trees a little. Start getting their proper colors in there. We're just getting things started. For the record, I only kind of half know where I'm going with this. I'm not quite sure, I'm just kind of trying something. Because I'd rather not spend 3 weeks drawing trees. I don't think that they're quite important enough to make me want to do that. So, I'm not gonna. Those are also mid-ground trees, so I'll get them next. I'm gonna get these two. But yeah, I really like where this is going. I like where it's going. We'll see what else I have to do to it in order to make it look really nice. But I like where I'm going with this. I think for this kind of thing, I can afford to be more painterly in the background and just kind of derp around and have some fun. Not get super hyper fixated on every little detail as I am prone to do. I want to zoom in just a little bit more here. Just because I don't feel like I'm fluffing out some of these edges quite well enough. I don't. Yeah, I think this looks pretty neatly. Got just, you know, the tiny little bits of texture on the edge there, and that's enough to kind of smear it in the right way, I think. I have disconnected. Am I good? Can you see me now? Okay. Looks like I'm good now. So sorry about that. I'm not sure what was up with the internet there, but I do appear to be back. Okay. Yep, YouTube says all is well. So I'm just gonna keep going, and I'm gonna keep just kind of texturizing the edges here. I just realized I wasn't super happy with some of the ones on this side, so I just started going back over it. That's always a nice thing. It's like, no matter what I do, I can always go back over things if I am not quite happy. And I mean, like I established at the start of stream, I'm probably not going to be happy with anything for a little while. But nah, you know what? Kind of depends on the definition, I suppose. Because I wouldn't say I'm like super duper unhappy or anything right now, but just that art is hard. Okay. Oh yeah, let's fluff out those edges even more, and then you know what? I'm gonna take a break from trees for a moment, and this just kind of came up while I was looking at all these guys, but you can see kind of where they start overlapping the snow down here, and I don't want that to happen, actually. I do want them to go all the way down to the bottom. So, you know what? I should figure out where the snow pile is going to be going. So where's that other snow pile? Oh god, I have to find another layer. Life is hard, man. Where the heck did I put it? I can never find anything. Okay, there it is. I want to lift this up a little. I think it's a little unfortunate to be hiding those cute little pom-pom things. They did look pretty nice contrasted against those trees, but I can cheat. So I'll take the chalk brush here, and I can still make that spot a little bit darker. I'll want the top to be nice and sun-kissed. But everything below? Nah, I can do whatever the heck I want. Oh. Bold statement. Here we go. I'll prove it. I can do whatever I want, and it'll look good. Okay, so I'm gonna get all kinds of weird dark colors in there. You know, stay with me. And then I get the kind of more sun-kissed part here. Get a little pink going through there. And I still want a little bit of kind of default snow color. Kind of going over all this. I should probably do that with the airbrush, actually. Oh, you're an eraser right now. Okay, there we go. And then I just kind of got to blend it. Let's really light this up. Okay. And I don't want too many little snowy details. I think even this amount is a little bit too much. So I'm gonna kind of pull it back a little. Okay, there we go. I think that's about all I need to do for that snow pile. I don't know why I felt the need to do that right now, actually. I was thinking about something and then I misinterpreted something. It's okay, I had to get it eventually. And I think it looks good there. Got a little bit of depth to the background. It had to go somewhere where you'd actually be able to see it, so... Okay, where was I? I was drawing trees. Where are my mid-ground trees? Here you are. Alright, where's that brush I was using? I think it was this one. Okay. Back to what I was doing. Alright, got dark color, and now I'm going to lock the layer and start spreading things around and start getting the colors I want just all around here. Look, I said a long time ago, or, you know, somebody, you know, mentioned not necessarily knowing what to do, and I'm just like, yeah, that doesn't go away. At least for me, it never quite went away. Yeah, so you just gotta start with what you know and do your best. All there is to it. So don't worry, you'll be fine. You don't have to have everything figured out right from the start. It's all good. Sometimes the process is very messy. Okay, so now I just kind of want to get some basic shadows in there, and I'm trying to be a little bit neater than I have been, just because it is time to kind of start finalizing things, but I'm still being pretty messy, because I know that I'm going to be doing one more pass through all this. At least one. Hopefully just one. Okay, my ears just started ringing for some reason. I was wondering if there was something out there, but nope, I think it was just my ears. How strange. Alright. Right now, I feel like my branches are feeling a little bit horizontal, so I'm gonna kind of go over them a little bit with some stuff. Like I said, I am trying to get this into its finalized state, so I don't want to rush. I do want to make sure that things are actually rendered out in a way that I enjoy. And that is important. And so I want to vary out all the light and shadow and try to get the impression that the trees give to me. Okay, but I think that's pretty alright. Like I said, probably still gonna have to clean this up a little, but so far so good. And then I just want to go over the branches one more time with this brush. Just kind of clean them up, and I think painting over like this, switching back to the eraser occasionally when I need to, will also just give the impression that they're kind of buried in all the little pine needles that are here. Okay. Alright, I think that looks pretty good now. Actually, let me get a little bit more barky texture right through there. Okay, and I just realized that I forgot to add a little bit of the yellow light. So I will do that now. I think that this guy in particular will be hit by a lot of light. So I'll put a lot down. A little bit more than the other ones. I still do plan to light this via a lighting layer, but you know, that's okay. I do just kind of want to get it started. Just, you know, it hasn't changed my plans. But I do plan to kind of do the same kind of thing for all my lovely little trees here. I want to give them all the same treatment. I don't want anyone to feel left out. That would just be sad. Okay. There we go. I think that's looking pretty good. Yeah, I actually do feel like all the trees are kind of coming together. I think I still need to take back some branches here, though. I think I still have a few too many showing. So I'm gonna go over this one more time and still make some more adjustments. I'm just not quite satisfied. I am not. Fortunately, that's easy enough to fix. All I gotta do is go over it one more time. Okay, and I think that looks a little bit more convincing. Let me see. I still feel like right there is a little bit... showing a little bit too much. Okay, there we go. I think I could be happy with that tree now. And I think it's funny that I basically didn't shade this thing at all. This is all one solid color, and I think it's perfect. I don't think it needs any additional shades, really. I think it's fine. We'll see if I change my mind by the time I get through all these trees. I might. It happens. It happens quite often, actually. Alright. You know, it would be really cool if I could finish the trees today, though. Because let's see, what's left? I have trees. I have mountains. I have a couple of animals left to draw, just some of the birds in the background. Yeah, I already said the mountains, and I have the clouds. I might add some stars in the sky. That's probably about it. We're getting there. I think I am well on pace to have this done by Christmas. And then, you know, just adjustments. Stretch. Arms are locking up a little. Phew. Okay. Let's do the next tree. Let's do the next tree. So let's see, I think there's only a few more trees to go through. I'm not going to do the background trees right now, I don't think. Those will require a slightly different touch, and I don't want to use such a textured brush for them. So I'm not going to do those ones just yet. I will go ahead and finish up these trees. And then after that, I can kind of see about doing my next pass. Just kind of finish them up and make them look just a tad less messy. I think it's okay for them to be a little bit messy, though. Like I said, I think the painterly approach works just fine for this picture. Alright. So, you know, once again, just kind of blending in those branches and trying to make it so this way it looks like some pine needles are in front. And we'll see what happens. Probably gonna need to go over this one more time, but I'm gonna handle the tree first, the leafy parts. Doesn't look quite as bad as I expected, but it's still not quite where I want it to be. Okay, so I'll use this color, and I think I'm gonna take the kind of mid-dark over here as my dark. Okay. Let's go ahead and fluff up some of those needles. Fluff, 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 fluff. Fluff, 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 fluff. Oh, you're locked. No wonder I'm not getting anything done. Okay. And I see that all of this is significantly lighter than the color I'm using, and that's fine. Like I said, I was not worried about colors at all. Just using whatever colors I kind of had laying around. Oh yeah, and I should mention that before I go and make all this look less messy, I actually am going to go put the snow on it. That's another one of the reasons I'm not trying that hard yet. Because the snow will be covering up a lot of things. And I do not see the point in trying to draw things neatly until I know all the things that are going to be sitting on top of it. Okay. Yeah, I like this. I do. I think this will work quite well once I touch it up. I'm at 133%. I did not need to be that zoomed in. Stop itself. I think I still want to touch up over here a little, actually. I don't know, I'm not quite happy with how some of those branches are branching. Let's pull this back a little. I'm using a textured brush here, so that probably means there's going to be some really awful pixel dirt over there that I'm going to have to clean up, so I'm just going to do it right now. Yep, that is some awful pixel dirt. Alrighty. Alrighty. Let's see, I actually don't like your general shape. I am amazed I left you like that. I'm sorry, little tree. That was rather rude of me. I need to take care of some stuff around here in order to get it to all look right. Okay, that's much better. Let's go ahead and clean up the dirt. Okay, I left considerably less dirt behind this time, which is nice. Alright. There we go. Now I can kind of get the backside here. There's a little bit of it showing. Before it kind of disappears behind the little snowman. And I do think that this branch is sticking out a little bit too much. So I'm going to use the eraser to kind of bring it back. And I'll go from there. Okay. And now I kind of feel like I can lock the layer and just start painting. Get everything the colors that they should be. This area is like being completely repainted. That's okay. Alright, and I think this color is dark enough for this area that I can use it to kind of define where some of these branches are and what they're doing. And then at the end, I'll add the yellow. And I think I can really just light this entire place up. It'll be great. Okay, you know, as always, sometimes things look a little bit weird before I just finish them off. But you can believe in me. Hello there, Kuhaku. Welcome back. Okay. So there we go. I think that's all looking all right. So I'll go plop a little bit of the yellow on. And then I think it is time for snow. I think it is time for snow. Let's see, do I want to do this tree and this tree first? I know I don't want to do these ones. Those ones are like way back there. But yeah, I do think I want to do this one and this one. So, okay, not quite time for snow. Oh yeah, now I get to go through the process of making all these trees look good one last time. But it is looking like I'll probably finish the trees today, which is pretty cool. We'll see if I can finish the cabin too. I am determined to do many things today. Yeah, I think that all looks fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and get this guy right now. He's like barely there, so it'll be fine. And I'll just kind of clean him up a little bit. Okay. There we go. This is the tree that really had to get done. Let's see. Can I just use that color? No, that is almost the same. Oh, and I have you. I almost forgot about you. Okay, well this is fine. I'll start here. And I don't think I'm gonna do anything fancy with the trees back here. Are you locked or something? No. All is well. Okay. Just felt like it wasn't painting for a second there. And I want something just a little bit darker than that for this side. Okay, and then you. I'll get you too. Okay. I think that's good for them. So let's just kind of shade things out. This guy I do not think needs very much attention at all. He's basically fine as is. This guy needs a little bit more. It's okay, I'll give it to him. All will be well. All will be well. Okay. And I think that's good for those trees. So yeah, let's get the snow on them. I'll just turn on all the snow layers. And I guess I'll start with these guys. You know, why not? It seems like a perfectly fine place to start. And then I'll see how much cleaning up that all this needs, because it's very, very possible that it will need very, very little by the time that I'm done here. I'm going to use chalky brush for this. That is certainly a possibility. I'm not quite sure how it's going to shake out. So, you know what? I don't need to know right now. All I need to do is color snow. Just find those places of light and shadow. Render out the snow, figure out how it sits on the branches and whatnot. Which, you know, stuff that I've mostly done. Okay, the foreground is making this way too hard to see. I gotta turn it off. I gotta turn it off to at least get it started. Otherwise it'll drive me nuts. Okay, and, you know, while I'm at it, I'm even gonna hide the cabin tree. Just so I can really make sure that the snow is sitting on these trees well. I actually do think that's really important. I do. So a lot of this is going to be covered up. And it does mean that I'm probably, you know, spending some time that may be unnecessary. I'm mostly paying attention to the places that I can see that I texturized. Because if it has the tree textures that I've been working on, then that means it is a place I touched. And therefore will probably have probably be visible. And you know, that's important. And if it's not very well texturized, then that means it's probably a place that I did not touch when doing my texturizing pass, and therefore is probably completely covered and will not be at all visible. So there we go. That should be good. I'm gonna turn the foreground back on now. I don't want to work on this too much with the foreground off. Okay. So from here, I do believe that I can just kind of trust. All will be well, and I'll just plop the snow on where I think it makes sense. I'm debating if this brush is working for me. I think it's fine. I'll just press a little bit harder. I think I had it a little bit too textured for a little while. But if I press a little bit harder, the brush becomes a little bit less texturized, and then I can kind of go back over it with the exact level of texture that I want. Okay, so let's get all this snow on there. We're gonna get the snow just sitting perfectly in those little branches. It'll be great. And you can see that I'm kind of going back over certain parts and even lessening the snow occasionally. Just whatever will let the snow sit where I think it needs to sit. Okay, how's that? I think that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna put the cabin tree back on. You know, once I find it, because oh my god, I have so many layers. Okay. So let's do this part now. I am trying to get all this into the final state, so I am going to try to make sure that the snow is sitting where it needs to sit, and that I will not have to do another pass. So I'll be taking my time. I will take as much time as I need in order to get all this right, so this way I just don't have to touch it again. I might still need to go back and reshade a few things, but I do want to be able to lock the snow layer and just not have to worry about it. Incidentally, this is why I didn't want to spend too much time lighting the tree. It was all going to be covered with snow at some point, so, like, why would I spend a bunch of time worrying about the lights on the tree if it's going to get covered up? And once again, I'm just, you know, trusting my hand. Hand is of chock full of good ideas, and I do think that it will be able to make things more natural than my brain, so even if I'm not fully head empty, I am still making decisions, I am still thinking about things. I kinda want a degree of randomness that only the hand can provide. And I'm making sure that I hit both sides of the tree here, that everything gets nice and covered with snow. I'm also kind of paying attention to some of the branches that I drew. They will give me some good ideas on where the snow should live. But mostly, I'm just kind of paying attention to how I personally feel like the snow would fall down and hit these branches. And that's basically it. Just picturing little bits of snow just casually fluttering down and seeing where they land in my mind's eye. And slowly but surely, I'll just build it all up. I kind of like drawing trees. You can basically do whatever the heck you want with them, and they'll look like a tree. It's kind of like hair. As trees are very abstract and free-flowing. It's pretty great. Unironically, just as long as you get the general gist of the shapes right, it'll look like a tree. So you really can just kind of do whatever you want, and it makes it very relaxing. I'm not surprised that you know, Bob Ross and like just always like to do stuff with trees, because it's a really good thing to show beginners to get them a little bit more confident. Like, if you try to draw people, you will find all sorts of errors everywhere, because the human brain is just so predisposed to knowing what a human face looks like, and messing it up even a little bit will just feel weird and wrong and all that stuff. Trees? Nah. Do whatever you want, it'll look like a tree, it'll be great. It will be great. So, trees are great for unwinding with. when you're just feeling stressed, you know, just go draw a few trees. And then, you know, at the end of all this, I might do some more stuff to make it glittery. But I think I want to save any glitter-related stuff for a little bit closer to the end. Okay. Yeah, and I think I want to go back to my mid-ground snow, and I kind of want to shade things just a little bit more in a few places. You are not locked. There we go. You're still not locked. What the heck? Be locked. Thank you. Okay. Oh yeah, I just want a little bit more shadows on some of these little snowbanks here. Like a lot of the stuff back there should be completely in shadow. And I'm not actually going to add any, like, yellow light to this. Probably at all. I think I'm going to do that on a lighting layer. I think that'll be easier than trying to get it all just right here. Like, I didn't on the ground because I didn't really feel like I needed to. But I'll have a little bit more control, so I'm just going to do that. Okay, how are we doing? Oh yeah, that looks nice. Look at those happy trees. They're so happy. Okay. So, I think I'm gonna go do these trees now. Gotta hide the swatch, because it is in the way. Phew, there's a lot of trees. But see, even with this many trees, it's not taking me that long. I'm gonna finish it in a day, and I drew a bunch of animals today, too. Don't forget how many animals I drew. And I'm gonna be able to finish all of the trees. So, you know, you don't have to be intimidated by backgrounds. Backgrounds are so much fun. They are such a good time. And if, you know, if you don't want a background for your character art, you know, that's fine. You don't need one. If it's not related to what you want to express, you know, don't worry about it. Even I don't draw backgrounds for my reference sheets. That'd be ridiculous. But it will elevate your work if you kind of get used to them. And they're fun. They are a lot. What, did I disconnect again? Man, is my stream just refusing to stay connected today? Oh, man. I thought I fixed my internet trouble. Well, that's awkward. Well, it's okay. I'll still have my nice painting. Oh, life is hard. So, sorry for the technical difficulties, but... well, here we are. Only so much I can do. I don't know what's wrong, I'm sorry. I really don't. Gonna die in real life, oh well. I'll die a little bit, but then I'll get better and I'll be back tomorrow. For the last... Sheepo stream. All right. Man, I'm actually having to switch back to my eraser a lot for this one. That's alright. I can do that. The snow on this one is just a little bit messier than some of the other ones, and that's still okay. All is well. Let's see, how do I want to do this? How is the snow going to be falling on this tree anyway? I feel like it's a little bit uniform. It's a little bit uniform and I don't like it. Okay, I'm gonna go do this tree first. I'm gonna go from there, but you know what? It doesn't actually look too bad. You know, I should actually go make use of the wonderful tool that is Google Images and double check what these trees look like when they're all covered in snow. Get a good understanding. Okay, I got it. I'm actually going to go back over some of the ones I just did. I think this is probably the one tree thing that is absolutely worth being very particular about. Because the way the snow lands on evergreen trees like this does a lot to kind of show off their shapes and make them look a little bit less flat. So I just want to kind of go over their shapes a little bit more. Break it up just a little bit more. From memory, I thought that the tops had a lot more snow than they did, but of course they don't. It falls down. So I just want to break up some of the snow just a little bit more. Kind of imply some of the other branches around. And I just found that when I actually looked at it, there were a lot of smaller clumps, rather than these huge lines that I was drawing here. So I will kind of go back over that. And periodically I'm going up and looking over at my thumbnail here. That's really useful for seeing how things look like when it's far away. Very, very useful. And it'll give me an idea on whether or not I have the snow drawn well. Far stronger than looking at it at the same level, so to speak, as when I'm painting it. I think this one actually looks pretty alright already. Okay, and then I can worry about shading just a little bit later. So let's go ahead and do this tree now. I think I can move on a little here. Like I said, there's a lot less snow up at the top than I was expecting. So I'm gonna kind of take that back a little. And then I'll just go add nice little snow piles. Nice, lovely little snow piles. I picture these branches able to carry a lot, so I'm putting lots and lots of snow on them. But some other ones are going to be, you know, a little bit smaller, so they won't be able to handle as much snow, and they will droop and fall a little bit more. They will droop and fall a little bit more. But they will also have a lot more snow on them. And I think as you get lower and lower, more and more snow will collect. So I'm going to cover a lot of the bottom in just a lot of snow. Okay. So I think that's pretty good, and now I can go back to the other tree and start, you know, doing the same thing. I just want to think about how much snow this tree can carry before it starts drooping down and dropping the snow that was on its branches onto the branches below. That is the general idea. Oh man, I've got another sneeze coming, but I can't decide if it wants to come out or not. Oh, I hate that feeling. Yeah, okay, I decided to go back in. Oh man. Now my head feels all funny. I don't know why I've been so sniffly lately. It sucks. At least my voice doesn't sound funny today. Yesterday it was like, man. I think it's doing better now. Okay, and down here I still want lots of snow. Lots and lots of it. This is where a lot of it is going to be getting stuck. And I think I'll just shade everything at the end there. I think trying to do it all at the same time is not working out for me, so I'm just not going to do that. I did use my shadow color on that side, but I left it as just, you know, one solid blob of shadow color. Not really a lot of shading. And that worked out. What do you mean? He's adorable. Look how happy he is. He's just derping and having a great time. That's a happy little face. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Well, there we go. Let's see. Now this part is still a little blurry. I do like where the snow is, though, so I'll keep most of it. Maybe just a touch right there. Okay. Yeah, I'd say that's looking fine. I think I will shade these two together. Just do it like that. That was working for me. So now I can block the layer, kind of shade everything, and get everything nice. Oh, there's still some residue. Gotta get rid of the residue. I don't want it. I don't want it. I'm sure we'll have a place where it can fit in, but it's not here. Alrighty. So, yeah, once again, just kind of looking up at my thumbnail, and I think it's looking pretty good. So I think I've done everything mostly right there. Just kind of adding a little hint of where everything is turning. I think that's about all it needs. I don't think I need to be super neat here. I actually think that this is looking just fine. I do see a little bit of residue here, though. So I will kill that. It must die. Okay. Okay, and I think that's all good, so on to the next pair. It's okay, I've got this pair, then this pair, and then this guy, but I don't think I'm gonna put any snow on that guy, so it's okay. And that will be the trees, and we'll see if I need to clean them up a little. Because actually, now that I look at it, you know, my initial conception here did have a dog, but he got kind of absorbed by a bunch of other stuff, and I didn't find a good place for him. So, I didn't put it back. I don't like any of that. You know what? I don't like any of this. I'm just gonna start over. I think that'll be easier than trying to save what was already there. Oh yeah, and I guess before I do anything else, I do have to do the lighting for this. That might actually take a minute, but I think I can get it done today. And we'll see if I decide to add the dog back. I was talking a little bit about it at the start of stream, in that I actually, for a while, I wasn't sure if I had enough animals, but with everything kind of coming together, I think I do now. So I don't think I need to add any more, so I probably won't add a dog. Probably not. But I am increasingly happy with the amount of animals in the composition here, so... I see. You know, it makes sense. Look. Snow and sunlight is really pretty. Really, really pretty. So... it's nice to use. I'm not surprised that it kind of sticks in your mind. Because it's really nice. It's really, really nice. Very, very striking. That's exactly why I wanted to paint it, because, you know, my initial thoughts on this, I didn't know what time of day I was going to make it. I wasn't really thinking about that, and I was like, you know what's really nice? Sunlight on snow. Let's do it. And so I did. I'm not surprised that Pippa likes the mountains so much. Yeah, hello there, Blood Bullet. And yeah, I'm probably gonna have to be heading out soon. But you can see me finish the trees. At least I think I can still finish the trees in time. I gotta kinda speed it up a little, but... it's okay, I do feel like with the trees done, that's another pretty huge step, so I'm quite pleased. I just want to make sure that the snow falls on these trees very nicely. I think it's important. Okay, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So, that just leaves the couple in the background. That actually gets snow. Because, yeah, these ones, they're not going to get snow. I don't know if I'll be able to finish those ones, but, they probably won't take me too long to wrangle when I decide it's time. I don't like this at all, so I'm not going to do it like that. And you can see the clumps of snow are starting to get a little bit smaller here since this tree is so far away. It is so far away. So all the branches appear to be much smaller too. And I think that's good. So there we go. There's another one back there, right? Yeah, you right there. Go away. Okay. And now I can just kind of put some dots through there, and that'll get all the snow it needs. Okay, and that's it. This one I think is hidden enough that it doesn't need anything at all. Alright, so that's the trees. Now I can actually go ahead and add all of my atmosphere and whatnot. So I'll go start turning those layers back on. Oh yeah. Already so much better. Okay. I think I even want them to be a little bit bluer. Right about there, I think is good. Cabin tree. A little bit more blue, please. Wonderful. Okay. So I think I'm going to go back to my texture brush and turn it into an eraser. And, you know, as I always do with this atmospheric lighting, just start erasing parts that are directly facing the sun. And then it'll get another layer where I put in proper shadows. And then it'll get another layer for the final highlights. And hopefully by then, everything will just be singing. That's when I know that I've done it right. When the picture starts singing to me, I can hear it. It's real, okay? Because that's just when everything resonates properly. And everything just feels right. Okay, so that's that one. And I apparently do not have an atmosphere layer for my background trees. I will fix that, but once I get there. I think I'll finish all the lighting on the trees a little further forward before I go back and do that. This is a big old branch. But lighting is still my favorite part. Still my favorite part. It just makes everything so much better. So I like to take my sweet time with it. Which is maybe a problem since I only have 15 minutes left, but it's okay. If I have to bleed that into next time, or, you know, maybe even go a little bit late, I think I can do that. No, I should do a little bit on this tree too. It's a little further back, but I do think it needs a little bit of light on this side. And I'm just kind of doing the lighting separately for each section for this picture. I don't always do that. I do sometimes. I did for this one. There's no real rhyme or reason to it. It's just whatever happens to feel right and kind of work out. I think there was enough details on a bunch of things that it was just a little bit easier to handle it all separately. And I mean, I can picture what it looks like in my head with the lighting on, so I don't need to... Once I have the composition figured out and I can kind of trust where I'm going, I don't really need to know what it looks like at every second of the day. Like, it's fine. I can believe. And then I'm just kind of taking out a few spots in the middle here to, I don't know, it's more texture in tree like when you do that. Tree things. Okay. All right. So there we go. That's the first layer. Let's go ahead and get the shadow layers. Where are you? There it is. So I'm gonna set layer to multiply, get my dark. I guess I'll go ahead and get the light color while I'm here, since I know I'm gonna need it soon. And this way I don't have to put the swatch back on. But here we go. Let's get some darkness on these trees here. Just kind of in the middle. I'll vary it up and stuff, and I guess I decided to start with this tree. That's fine. I can do any tree, it's all good. I wasn't really even thinking about it. I'm just like, oh, okay, hand-picked this one. Sounds good to me. Let's go. Let's go. And then some of these ones that are a little further back might get a little bit more stuff to just kind of fade it a little. But I think this is fine for now. These ones are going to be like hugely dark since they're just kind of behind everything. There are going to be lots of shadow going on back there. I don't want them to draw much attention to themselves, so I'll be using shadow to just kind of push them back. There we go. That should be good. Oh, I don't have you clipped either. There we go. That's better. Okay. So now these ones. Just gonna kind of go back and forth. Let it do tree things. It'll be great. Love doing tree things. I'm bleeding a little bit into the light side just to add a little bit of extra shadow and contrast because it looks nice. Contrast is fantastic. Always use it. Trust me, you don't want to be afraid of your shadows. They're important. They're as important as everything else. Don't fear them. Embrace them. Bring them into your life. So it's a little bit scribbly, but I think it's actually fine. I think it all looks pretty good. Just going for something a little bit more painterly than usual. Yeah, maybe a little. I can't use a lot of the same techniques because, you know, I don't have a paintbrush. I'm just kind of doing things with digital. But, you know, you can keep things simple. And still keep things pretty tree-like, and even when I'm at 100%, I still feel like these trees look okay. They are still very recognizable as trees to me. I was wondering if I was going to have to clean them up, and if I didn't add the snow, I think I would have almost certainly have had to. But with the snow, no, I think they look fine, even all the way up here. And when I zoom out, it's like, yes. Perfect. Anyway, let's go and add the dark to the cabin tree. And then I can add the lights and make it sing, and it'll be wonderful. That's the part that I always look forward to. The highlights just make everything pop. Okay, and then over here, I want a lot of shadow since it's behind the tree here, and I do think adding a lot of dark over here will make it separate from the trees a little further forward, a little bit more. And that'll make things look nice. It'll make it look more layered and like there's more of a forest going on instead of just a single line of trees lining up like it's a kindergarten class. Okay, there we go. Okay, and from here, light. Color dodge. Time to make it bright. So the top, I think, will be a bit lighter than everything else. But of course, there will be a lot of light just over here. Just over here, where the sunlight is. Alright, this is also part of the cabin group. That's fine. Alright, no problem. Thanks for stopping by, Blood Bullet. I hope you sleep well. Good night. Okay. I think I'm gonna need a little bit more light on that one, but this is good for start. I'm just gonna need to add... you know what? Maybe color dodge isn't the right one. Maybe I want hard light. What do I think? If it's hard light, it needs to be a lighter color. And also a more yellow color. Okay, no, I think I'm gonna leave it... No, I will leave it at hard light, but I'll leave it this color for now. No. I'm not satisfied. Let's look around. Maybe right there. And then I'll just kinda... Instead of the textured brush, kinda just light it up a little bit more. I guess it's fine if it bleeds onto the cabin a little bit. Oh, I'll fix it later. It was not singing, and that is just unfortunate, so I had to fix it. But yeah, there we go. I hear the song a little bit more clearly now. Okay, and then there's a few spots I just want to take back because they are a little bit more shadowy. Okay, and I will take this tree and clear the light off the tree, or that's not on the tree. And there we go. That's a little bit better. So hard light is a little bit better for the trees here. Good to know. Why do I have two groups for mid-ground trees? Whatever. Past me made choices. Past me probably didn't know what further past me was doing. Do I have you set to erase? I do. I was gonna say, that is not doing anything at all. Okay, let's make the trees sing. Let me hear your lovely song, trees. Okay, I don't know if I like the airbrush for you. Let me try the other brush. No, not you. Oh, shoot. I just set my eraser to the texture brush. I thought that I didn't have my pen flipped over, but my tablet disagreed. Okay. Here we go. Just press quite hard. No, that's not working either. Airbrush was better. Okay. I tried. Here we go. Airbrush was better. And I should probably zoom in and make sure that all of this is looking good, even up close. And I'll just use the thumbnail to get an idea of what's going on far away. No, I have to go back and forth. I'm sorry, people watching the time-lapse. There's gonna be a lot of zooming in and out here. Okay. I'm just gonna plop all this down, and then I'll go back and check it. Once I'm happy with how it looks here, I should be able to go back and check things a little bit more sanely. There we go. I think these trees are looking pretty good. And just think, at the start of today, they were just some scribbles. And now they are mighty trees. Doing nice things. And looking pretty. Okay. Let's go check them. Like I said, I do want just a touch of light in a few, like, kind of random places. Kind of gives a little bit more impression that there's some stuff going on over there. I see a few spots I missed or didn't press hard enough. That's fine. I will fix it. This area I want to be very much heavily in light since, you know, the gap in the mountain is like right there. So it'll look better if it's all well lit. This is still only 50%, so I gotta get in there. How are you doing? How you doing, little tree? Try to move my hand very fast here. I would like to finish them off today, and I still have the background trees. But what I do with them is going to be a little bit different, so... So I should be okay. But I do want to make sure that all my trees are, you know, nice and happy and doing happy tree things. That everything looks the way that I want it to. Yeah, I want to press a little bit harder through there to have it be a little bit lighter. And Then I'm going to add one more layer to just the mid-ground trees. I do not think the cabin tree needs it. Where I bring a certain subset of them and make them an even lighter. Okay, but I really got to get going soon, so we'll see how much of that I can get through. I think these guys are fine. Okay, so let me get that little bit that I want. Mostly just here, where I just plop a little bit of the light color there. Of the sun color. Mostly on these couple of trees. Okay, and how do we look? Is it good, better with or without? It's better with. Okay, good. What about you? You are still not quite to my liking. Okay, I'm not going to do the background trees. I'm going to get these ones good, and that'll be where I stop. So we'll do the background trees on Wednesday. So I'm just thinking about what's left while I finish this up. There's the background trees. Then there's still a couple of animals, like this little bird over here. There's a little bird in the tree over there. These guys back there and that kind of thing. So a few more animals. I still need to do the mountains. And the clouds, and I think that's it. Honestly, would not be surprised if I'm able to finish it next time. I better think about what I actually want to draw next. So good. This means I don't think I'll need an extra day. Oh yeah, and I still want to color some of the snow. Some of the lighting on the falling snow is still not working for me. But, you know, it's a lot of things that is just small. I'm pretty sure I can get it done this week. So I'm looking forward to it. And I'm glad, because it means I'll be able to post it on Christmas, and I'll have a few days to work at the time lapse without, just utterly destroying myself. You know, and that sounds fantastic. I like not destroying myself, generally. Generally, I consider that a plus. Okay, so now I'm just kind of putting some of the dark areas back. Since I did kind of brighten all this up wholesale. Same with over here. I want some of these dark areas back. Like I said, you can't live without the shadows. They are not to be feared. Don't worry. Oh, did I accidentally do something to... No, okay, we're good. I was like, wait, did I accidentally break Pippa's braid? But no, that was just the ribbon that was confusing me. Okay. Okay. All well? No, still not quite. Still not quite. Let me get my bright color back. Actually, that's not going to be on my swatch, is it? Okay. Let's see, where can I get an accurate one? Not on this layer, unfortunately. Let's go back to the cabin. Okay. Look, like I said, I don't mess around with the lighting. I don't. Everything must be just right. And right now... things feel really smooth, and a part of that is, you know, airbrush use. So I'm gonna try to erase and paint a little bit with the textured brush again. See if that kind of helps out. Maybe just for the last few details. The airbrush was really helpful for a while. But maybe I just need to switch back and forth. I don't know. I've got options. I still don't quite hear the song from this tree. So I'm gonna take it back a little with the textured brush. And, you know, see if that makes me feel better about myself. Okay, yeah, there we go. And you know what? I think that's good. I was thinking, you know, I think I might want to add a little bit more light to the foreground, and I think that's true. But I don't have time. I have to do that next time. So I'll try to remember that, and I can add that correction next time. But you know, I think it's all really coming together. I do. I'm liking this. So, you know, life is good. And hopefully next time I can figure out the last couple of things. We can draw a cabin, some mountains, and some nice things, and just, you know, if not finish it, get it really dang close. But I'm gonna try to finish it next time. So here we go. Look forward to Thursday, I sure am. But this is where I gotta stop for today, so, you know, thank you all for coming. And I hope you're able to make something wonderful today. I will see you all tomorrow.